Alright, so in today's video, I was wanting to walk you all through the pros and cons of the Nikon Z30. I believe I had this camera approximately 5 months. So what I did was I prepared a list so that I am not running off the mouth. So the Nikon Z30 is 20.9 megapixels. Just for the sake of argument, we can go ahead and say 21. So this camera provides great images, and they're very, crisp and clear. The other thing I like about this, if you're going to look at the camera, look at all those buttons. You got function buttons. On the top, you have all these other, got a mode dial, got a record button, all these buttons. Now what all these buttons means is that you have most of the control on the camera. Even though it has touchscreen, the touchscreen is cool, but for you more, kinesthetic learners, you have a button layout to control the camera. Another thing I like about this thing is that it has a very, very diverse menu. So mostly, there is a menu for every single thing that you want to do. Now, I'm recording this on my tablet, so there's not much that I can do about how this image transfers, but I'm going to explain it to you. There's a menu for your photos. There's a menu for your, video recording. There's a menu for, your custom settings. There's a menu for your setup menu. There's a menu for your main menu, and a menu just in case you was wanting to ask questions. There are so many options here that if it doesn't work out, you can go and play with it and make it work out. You also have a hot shoe for your strobes, lights, and even wireless recording devices or mics. So what that does is just adds a whole lot of diversity to the way that you can use that hot shoe. It's not just to attach something, it's to connect. Also, if you don't want to go and connect via the hot shoe, you have a 3.5 millimeter jack. So this connects your, like microphones. The only bad thing about that is that you cannot listen to the audio via the camera. You have to go and connect it to a computer or something for it to connect. You also have a HDMI. Now it's a mini HDMI, which means that they're a little bit more, flimsy or whatnot. So they're prone to break off. But if you're careful, you can maintain it. But with the 3.5 HDMI, what the HDMI does is connects the camera to your computer to be used as a webcam. You can also use it as a webcam using the USB-C attachment right here. One other cool thing about this thing, I'm gonna have it on. You can also shoot this thing 11 frames per second. I'm going to give a brief demonstration of that. So if I go ahead and press this button, I'm going to take as many pictures as I want. So that's for your sporting events or any type of dances where you was wanting to go and capture motion by motion, because when something's moving fast, you can't really just stop. So and since this is a mirrorless camera, if I'm not happy with the width of the lens or the zoom of the lens, I can just replace the lens. So that is an added bonus. Now the bad thing is that the lenses are super expensive, especially with Nikon. But Nikon is known for their, picture taking ability. Let's see. Good on board mic, can connect with HDMI, and 3 user settings. So with this control wheel, I have several settings here for the auto. I have program auto. I have the shutter priority and manual. And then I have 3 user settings. So there's all types of, controls that you can have to your pictures and video settings. Now let's go and get into the things that I do not like about this camera. What I don't like about this camera is this, flimsy, plasticky, rubbery thing right here. Now it protects the camera, but also I'm going to be very careful about how I use this thing, because I also got to go and put it right back in to protect the camera. And that is a bother. It does its job. I'm afraid that if I'm too excited or, I'm just kind of going to rip these things off, I totally rip it off. And therefore, I won't have the protection that I need for this camera. Also, I kind of skimped out on this covering. Now, usually when you have a covering for a camera, there's some type of, flex given. There's a spring or something like that to control how the door closes. And this is a very important door if you think about it, because it houses my battery and my SD card. So if it breaks off, I don't have that protection. So I have to be very careful on how I open that door. Now I did get kind of lost here, because I forgot to mention another thing that I like about this camera. Both the, video camera and the picture taking camera are separate. And going to be something that you like or dislike. For me, I like this because it's not, something that I'm going to get confused on. Now with the 3.5 jack right here, I can go ahead and, add a microphone to it so I can put sound into this thing, or enhance sound. But what I can't do is monitor it. So the way that you monitor sound on this is via the camera. And I'm pretty sure that you can't see that, and I have to go ahead and, alright. So once you go ahead and put it to, once you go ahead and place it on video, you're going to see how that little thing is jacking back and forth. That's how I monitor my sound. Otherwise, I got to go and place it to a computer, and it can go on and monitor sound that way. But if I'm just using the camera by itself, I have to go and rely on this audio monitor, as opposed to putting a headphone up in there and listening to the sound. Another thing my last thing that I don't like about this is the record button. It's very small. And because it's very small and you have all these buttons in between that, it's kind of hard to really just pinpoint that on the first try. So you got to go and touch around, and hopefully you touch the right button on the first try. But it's very understandable if you're going to make mistakes when you're first starting out. So yeah, overall, this camera is very solid. It's rugged. I've dropped it like 2 or 3 times and it hasn't broke on me yet. It has tilting monitor where I can go ahead and capture my angles and stuff. So there's that. It has hot shoe gear where I can go and connect multiple devices. Now I added a little lanyard here because I'm very clumsy, and if it drops, the only thing I have to worry about is it hurting my wrist as opposed to hurting the camera. I feel like this has been an awesome investment, both as a webcam and a personal cam to really just take out and about. And of course, it has its pros and cons, but overall, I like it. All right, while I'm at it, I was wanting to add a few other things. I know this video is getting kind of long in the tooth. But what I like about this thing is that it's fully prepared to connect to whatever type of thing that you need to go and connect it to. You have the hot shoe, which can connect to both cameras and lights or flashes. So I can go ahead and add a camera. I can add a microphone and a light using a hot shoe adapter. Automatically, cameras come with a tripod thread. I'm going to connect a tripod to it. So I have all types of ways to really just use this thing. Oh, and also I have the actual lens itself. So if I'm not happy with the lens that I have, I can just trade this out for another lens. And once I trade this thing out for another lens, the lens may have a different set of functions than the original lens. So you totally change the camera, or at least its functions. So you have, a tool that is meant to connect to all different types of things. And you don't have to have any type of adapters for it to go and fit. And that's where I feel like the pros is compared to the phones. So if you like this content, like, subscribe, leave a positive comment, leave a negative comment. I don't care, just interact.